Okay, let's get these kids squared away so we can make our breakfast casserole. Being a mom is one of my greatest joys, and I know it sounds cliche, but truly that's the way it is. Before I had kids, there was no way I thought that I had any more room in my heart to love. And then along came not one baby, but two babies. Yep, I have a set of twins, a boy and a girl, and they definitely keep me on my toes. I spend a lot of time in the kitchen, especially on the weekend. Here, I'm spooning out some taco meat to take to my parents. It's become a great joy for me to cook for them and deliver food. Man, who would have ever thought that it would have gotten to this point where they would be eating something I cooked? Especially since my dad always had jokes when we were growing up. If my mama didn't cook it, he didn't want it. But now, that's not the case. He even compliments me on my food. Now here he comes.
But when it runs out, you're going to have to start not a lot, 13.
When it runs out, can you start making fun?
You might not even, you probably got about 5 or 10 minutes on that mouse.
I know some people frown about screen time and tablets, but my kids don't get their tablets until Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and that's if they have a decent week at school. Notice I didn't say a perfect week because I definitely don't think that exists. I give my kids a lot of grace for being kids. They're at the age now where they're trying to discover who they are and how much they can get away with. I take my motherhood journey in stride, except for this part. I'm not really a big fan of washing dishes, but I needed the pot to make the breakfast casserole. So here we go. You can use whatever kind of sausage you want. I prefer a spicy sausage. Now, I lived in Michigan for 17 years before moving back to the South, and I fell in love with Bob Evans spicy sausage. But I can't find that here in the South for some reason. So I've settled for this Jimmy Dean hot sausage, and there is no comparison. It doesn't even taste close to the Bob Evans, so of course, it makes the casserole taste different. When I tell y'all I don't understand how my stuff be disappearing and I can't find the utensils I need in the kitchen when I'm looking for them, that's what I mean. This is a plastic spatula, and I really don't like cooking my meat or breaking it up initially with plastic. I would much rather prefer to use my metal spatula, but I could not find it this morning. Don't know where it went. So after you start browning the meat, it's time to get the potatoes out. And I do let mine sit on the counter just a little bit. So then I either break them up. I don't know who I'm yelling at, but somebody wants something. I either break them up with a meat hammer, or if they're thawed a little bit, I can just break them up with my hand. But I do use a little more than half of the pack for 3/4 roll of sausage, break it up, and then I just stick it in the microwave. Not to cook it fully, because you don't want to cook the potatoes in the microwave because they're already cooked. You just want to heat them up enough to knock the ice crystals off of it and have them be room temperature so that it mixes easily with the meat and cheese and cream of chicken and sour cream and butter and onions. Now, I usually start with 3 minutes, and after the 3 minutes are up, I do a spot check, and if I need to heat it up a little bit, I move in 30-minute increments after that. One thing about cooking in the kitchen on the weekend, I definitely get my steps in. All right, let's check them out and see what we think. I feel like they might be all right. Don't necessarily think I need to put them back. I lied. I do need to put them back. By now, the meat should be done. So I use this meat, I don't know what it's called, a meat squisher, meat grinder, whatever it is. This thing is life. And I love it for once the meat has already started cooking. It helps loosen it up into smaller pieces. I got this from Pampered Chef Party, I think, but they also sell it on the TikTok shop. Now, for the pan for your casserole, you want to make sure that it doesn't stick to the bottom. So either grease it with some butter, or I like to just spray some Pam on it. Mind your business about my spice cabinet down. I do need to clean that out. So I might bring y'all along for that so you can see all the fun stuff I got in there. All right, these potatoes should be ready, and now the meat should be done for real. So we just get those nice and mixed up, because if you heat them too long, they're going to be stuck together like mush, and we definitely don't want that when we go to mix everything together. This is the fun part, because I like to see the casserole come together. So you take your meat out of the pan and mix it with the potatoes. So I just use a spoon to get it out of the pan. You want to be careful not to take all of the grease along with you, because if you do, then you're going to have a really, really greasy casserole, because you definitely have to add butter to this too as well. So be careful. Leave the grease from the sausage in the pan and use it to fry your eggs or something, but get all of the meat in there. And now we are ready to stir, stir, stir. I'll move the bowl closer to the camera so you can see in a minute, but you really want a good mix between the sausage and potatoes so that everything else mixes in smoothly. And from here on out, we'll be putting the casserole together right here. All right, so that's mixed up enough. Next, we're going to grab cream of chicken soup. That's what we use to kind of hold everything together and give it that creaminess and a little bit of enhanced flavor. So I use the whole can. Some people use half a can, whatever floats your boat, but also some sour cream, butter, and green onions, and some cheese. So I put the sour cream in after the cream of chicken, and then I season it. Y'all, I don't measure seasonings. I just put the stuff in. So if you want to be reserved with your sour cream at first, you can, and then just add some a little bit later. The goal is to have it be kind of a thick, creamy casserole. You don't want it runny and you don't want it too mushy, because then you're going to dilate the flavors and end up with a bland casserole. It's cheese time, y'all. Go for it. Add as much or as little cheese as you want. I like a lot of cheese, so we sprinkle some more, and then mix until everything is mixed together equally. Then I season a little more and add some green onions. I usually just use one. Are they called stalks? I just use one stalk of green onion. If you want it really oniony, feel free to go ahead and add more. But just be careful, because I do use onion powder as well for seasoning. Now, the frosted flakes are for the topping. I like sweet to balance out the spicy. Some people use corn flakes to top theirs off, but I find that frosted flakes gives it a really nice flavor contrast. So I break the flakes up with my hand first, and then I go behind it with something that's going to get it into smaller crumbs. Spray my pan down, and then we're ready to put it in the pan. This looks so good, y'all. Look at that. Mash it down or press it down if you don't like mash. Some people say mash, some people say press. Just like some people say cut the light off and other people say turn the light off. Anyway, get it in there, get it all smooth, and then shake, shake, shake. Get the topping on there. I use all of it. And at the bottom, there's going to be some sugar. Pour that on too. And then I just take my hands and gently press it down. Heat up some butter and drizzle it over the top to help it stick to the top of the casserole. And then we are ready to put it in the oven. Bake on 350 for about 40 to 50 minutes, depending on how well you want it done. And then you'll see the edges are a little bubbly and brown at the end. That's how you know it's done. Then you just take a spoon, dig into the corner, and do a taste test. You will thank me Tweak this and make it your own.